Hey guys, Primal Chaos here. Welcome to the channel yet again. If you're returning or if you're new around here, welcome. So I always start by saying I'm an eclectic music listener, but somehow I've always sort of avoided genres that had extreme vocals. And so that's led me to have this vast chasm of like emptiness where the genre of metalcore and deathcore should fit in amongst my musical proclivities, right? Like the things I like. And as I'm getting older, I'm finding more and more tolerance for that sort of stuff. And I thought, I'm going to inject myself into this genre in a meaningful way by reviewing videos in the manner of, like a first reaction. I'm in this kind of rarefied situation where almost all of these songs are new to me. And I know if you're watching this, it's probably one of your favorite songs, or the genre to you is extremely meaningful. And I thought I'd take this from a different perspective. Someone mentioned in the comments the other day that it was refreshing to see somebody humble themselves and say, express themselves on YouTube in a way that was not from a position of knowledge and not lecturing and not, basically imparting all of their knowledge onto the scene, which is, again, it's a great service for anybody like myself who wants to learn. But in my case, to me, it's more of like a collaboration with you, the viewers. I put myself out there asking you guys to help me on my journey into this extreme metal scene, which at 44 years old is kind of strange to be getting into. But to be honest with you, I've done, Parkway Drive and August Burns Red and Bring Me the Horizon. Last night I did Lorna Shore, which I'm still reeling from, to be perfectly honest. That was insane. But it's hearing all these songs for the first time that I think people find refreshing, because it's like, to me, it's an analogy of when you find a band that you really love and you've done everything you can to invest all of your time and energy into it. The best feeling in the world is watching your mate experience it for the first time, because it's kind of vicariously reliving that experience. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I try to keep it real honest. It's kind of to my own detriment, to be honest, because I'm finding I really want to jump in and listen to a lot of bands in this genre. But if I do, I'm costing myself the opportunity to have that fresh listen. And so, a lot of people are sort of recommending I check out all of these live performances. And, if you think that's great, you should see this. And I'm like, okay, but do I react to it? Because there's just not enough hours, like production hours for me, where I can just listen to everything I want to listen to. And it's been kind of interesting figuring out how to navigate it in a way that isn't costing me the ability to share these experiences with you guys. Anyway, this is a really long-winded way of saying today I'm going to be doing Northlane. Again, this is one of those names like Parkway that I hear all the time from friends of mine that are into more extreme styles of music. I should point out, I do listen to metal. It's not like I'm coming from a classical background, things like that. I'm a big fan of more power metal. Bands like Camelot and stuff really, really interest me. But, I really am an open book when it comes to musical influences. I listen to a lot of pop for the production value. Classical music is always super interesting to me as well, but it's not something that I, spend all my time listening to. To be honest, I just like kick-ass rock songs, everything. But because the harsh vocals have sort of separated me from these genres for so long, quite unfairly, to be honest, because the rest, even if I didn't like the extreme vocals to begin with, I was costing myself the ability to listen to so much great composition, in the more extreme music scenes. And so that's what I'm learning now. And it's kind of like, it's been an interesting journey realizing what I've been missing out on, and also learning to appreciate these harsh vocals, and stuff like that. But anyway, as always, I'm here for you guys. And I'm here to, so that you guys can assist me in finding my way up the mountain, to Valhalla. So if you guys want to jump in the comments, recommend me anything that you'd like to see me review. Also, click like and follow, because I'm going to be doing these pretty regularly. So if you really dig this, you're going to like anything else I put out in the future. I'm sticking within this genre, so it's probably going to be stuff you like. So without further ado, I've already spoken for too long. Northlane, Dispossession. Let's see how this goes. Oof. Sorry, first of all, I gotta respect the confidence to just exist in that silence for just a fraction of a second before the song starts. I already like it, and I haven't heard a note. I've heard like 2 notes on the guitar. One sec. Here we go. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, stop. I gotta stop. The punctuation, like the tightness of those little hits. This is funk. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I'm hearing like Flea on bass here. I'm not hearing a guitar player. First of all, again, these guys tuned to Z. Hang on, let me jump back to the start because I've got to make sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing. Is that a 6-string guitar? Is it? It's hard to tell because he's moving. Or is it? It's not a 6-string, but yeah, it's a 6-string guitar. It sounds like Primus. It sounds like you know, like here's my bass. It's not within reach, but like it's just high-end bass guitar. So yeah, they've obviously got heavy gauge strings tuned really low. But yeah, like if I was listening, I'd be like, oh cool, bass player's got some chops. Second of all, when that wall of sound hits, it hits different. That's just full on. And it again, this is unique to me in the genre because to me it's got its roots far more closely related to bass heavy music. You know, Les Claypool sort of, I'm hearing one known as Big Brown Beaver, you know, from back in, when was that? Early 90s? I'm sorry, this is going to get repetitive. Come on. Oh. There was a game on PlayStation Portable, Burnout Legends, maybe, which was a racing game where the whole vibe of it was extreme amounts of speed and insane crashes, right? And I remember distinctly being a big fan of a song on the soundtrack of the game because, you know, those mobile games, oftentimes the music library isn't all that big, so you hear the same songs over and over. And there was a song that I do not remember the name of by a band called Billy Talent. And it was, I guess, more of an aggro sort of pop punk sort of thing or traditional punk. And I remember really getting into the tightness that they had in the. I don't know what they're like as a live band or anything, but in that particular recording, the punchiness of the interplay between the drums and the bass really excited me. I don't know why this is reminding me of that, but it's just those little punctuated hits where it's so tight that you couldn't put a pin through it. You know what I mean? Like it's. And it's these little nuanced things that separate the men from the boys, you know. And not only that, they make it interesting, right? Because you might be listening to 100 different songs in the genre, but it's these bands that keep coming up with little creative ways to make you go, holy shit, what was that? You know? And so far I've heard 5 or 6 of these little moments in this one track, you know? Back to the noise. Oh, one other thing I want to say is I'm super impressed with the mix. The sound stage, like the stereo image, is super wide. Like, I mean, maybe that's a function of having to fit so much low end energy into the mix. However they've mastered it, has given it a really wide stereo image, and you can hear everything sitting in its place. And sometimes, particularly with like so much like energy going on in the low end, it's hard to separate all that stuff. And so yeah, whoever, I don't know who mixed this or whatever, but they did a great job. It's probably some legend who I shouldn't even be discussing, but here we go. You might need to mention in the comments. This is tricky for me because again, I don't know the band members and what they're capable of, what they do. Because the singer is, you know, hitting these verses with that high fry scream, rah, 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 sort of thing. But then when they drop down to the low, is that also him singing? It's hard to tell from the clip because it jumps around so much, and I don't know whether that's one of those instances where a guitar player jumps in and does the sort of stuff under it. But there's definitely 2 voices overlaid there. So I'm assuming live, it might be one of the other band members taking on that role, whether or not the singer does both in the studio, but props to him if he does, because it's difficult to articulate both of those styles. I sure as hell can't do it. Not that I am known for doing that, but it's, you know, I understand how to make sounds with my face and that seems like overly complex. So yeah, really cool. Oh, change up. Man, the stereo image of those tom hits, boom, 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 you know? Yeah. Oh! I'm trying to remember which other song I reviewed recently. I'm not sure if it was last night with Lorna Shore or if it was someone else. But there's a really interesting thing that's going on here that, you know, some of you might just be taking for granted, but they're going down to this halftime sort of feel breakdown sort of situation. And what they do to stop it from just being lumbery is you get that sort of high tempo guitar. I guess it's a melody, but it's really taking the place of the hi-hats. It's giving you that tempo, and the way they're doing it, I think I'm gonna have to listen to it again, but I'm pretty certain it's just a really simple melody on guitar, like but there's a delay, or, you know, if you're not familiar with that, it's essentially an echo that's slapping back against that. So you hit the one note once, you get like the and you'll get and when you play a string of notes like that, you get the guitarist most known for this is a guy called The Edge from U2, The Edge. So there's been jokes made about him. He uses delay so much as like the core of his sound that, you know, I think it was who was it? Bill, can't think of his name. He was doing a live comedy show, and he showed you what the Edge sounds like without all the effects on. And it's essentially just a string of like notes like do, 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 do. But you get this really complex tapestry when you turn all the delays on. Long way of saying it's a really interesting way of adding texture to parts of the song that could seem boring by comparison to the more up-tempo verses and stuff like that. So... there's a really interesting descant melody happening in the guitars there. I don't know whether it's part of the rhythm guitar, like maybe the top strings. It could be a strumming pattern. I have no idea what he's playing, but you can hear, if you listen to the very edges of the stereo spectrum, you'll hear like a, or maybe something like that. Not sure if you can hear it, but it's going on and it's giving this sensation of it lifting, but it's not in the core of the sound. It's kind of just off to the edges. There's the low end heavy guitars sort of pushing through the sort of the middle, maybe just panned like, say, I don't know, 40% left and right. But if you listen real close, you'll hear that climbing sort of strummed high end guitar note thing going on to the sides. Wow. There was so much going on through that part. That's really cool. There's like, you've got just this overall sort of noise, right? Of this song, low end to high end, just energy, just pumping. But everything's sitting in its own little pocket in the stereo spectrum. I keep talking about the stereo image with this song because it's just so broad. Like, it's really noticeable in this particular mix. But you've got like the rhythm section, which is the bass and the drums, essentially really the kick drum and the bass guitar providing like a rhythmic sort of rhythm. And there's a guitar doubling that, unless they're using some kind of a gain on the bass. I would suggest that there's a guitar track doubling that to give it sort of the top end of that sort of to punctuate it. In the same way that a kick drum will have a lot of low energy sound to give you the sensation of that kicking feeling in the stomach, particularly through loudspeakers. But there's the crack of the kick drum that sort of models the snare. So you get like, it's not too much of a difference between the two when they're playing the rhythm, right? I would say the guitar part is sort of emulating the high end of that kick crack. It's to give it some definition in the low end. But at the same time, you've got clean guitar parts. I'm going to have to listen to this 15 more times to really pluck everything out of the air. But there's these beautiful little melodic clean sound bits that are sort of bouncing around in the stereo spectrum. Again, I'm assuming with some sort of delay. I'm going to have to listen to it again. Bing, bang, bang, bang. They're like bell-like sounds. We just got funky again. Hang on, let me see that bass player. I just noticed him. The weird thing about this song is because I'm so lost in the overall sound of the mix, I'm staring at the video clip, but I'm not seeing anything. I'm just lost in this wave of amazing, like, you know, so some parts sound so lush and reverby, but then you've got these punctuated parts that are so dry because they have to be, because there's literally no room for anything other than the snap of just those little hits, you know? It's beautifully mixed. It's really good. I'm gonna have to guess and say that the bass player plays with a pick. If he does it, I apologize, because that's about the meanest thing you can say to a bass player who doesn't play with a pick. But I thought I saw the way he was holding the bass. Inconclusive. I just want to qualify that by saying there's nothing wrong with playing bass with a pick. Some of the best bass players in the world do. And it's how you get a really sharp attack, which would be absolutely necessary with music like this. But it's one of those things where it doesn't matter how you play bass. As long as you're good, right? But if you're a fingerstyle player and someone suggests you play with a pick, it becomes real ugly really quickly. I think I'm pretty certain that one of my favorite sounding there's a song called Bonnie the Cat by a band called Porcupine Tree, who again I might have to do some reactions to that, because I know they're an insane prog band, right? But I only know one or two of their songs, so there's room there for me to investigate that. But Bonnie the Cat has this beautiful bass sound and bass playing, bass tone, everything about it's perfect. And I showed it to the bass player in my band, who is a fingerstyle player. He's more from a jazz background, and he said, oh, he plays with a pick. not judgmentally, but it's like, I'm not going to be able to produce that tone for you that you're gas bagging on about because I play fingerstyle. That was the undertone of the conversation. But anyway, let me hear this again. Surprisingly, I don't know if it's just this part of the mix, but the drums are really raw. Hang on, let me jump back and listen to... No, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're definitely tweaked to have a really punchy drum sound, obviously, with compression and probably some sort of a room reverb. But they're tastefully done in a way that they add so much punch, but without getting in the way and complicating anything more than they necessarily need to. And you can hear it right at the end there in that last fill, because there's nothing on it. The toms are dry as. Yeah, there's a little bit of a room reverb on there, but it's not like a big 80s kind of reverb. It's just enough to give it volume. It feels like you're in the room with the drums. And that's super tasteful. I like it. I mean, that's probably indicative of punk in general, and hardcore and metal and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Is there anything else? Okay, that's it. You know, one thing I noticed when I listened back to the Lorna Shore video, which you should check out. At the moment, it's been taken down for a copyright strike, but I've disputed it, so hopefully it'll get posted again. And it was an interesting one to watch, because, as I said during the review, it's not a song that you should react to. It's a song you need to listen to a million times to get the full nuance of. And so I felt almost stupid reviewing it, because I was so speechless. But this one is different in that it's what a crazy cool song. There's so many elements of it that really piqued my interest. I was getting quite excited listening to that. But yeah, in summary, I think this is a band that I think this is my daily driver. I would be really interested in just dropping albums of this into my Spotify playlist and just listening through it all. I can see why they're so popular. I think I took a little bit more out of this than I did Parkway. While both the songs I enjoyed, Vice Grip was, what it was. It's not exactly a Parkway song, and a lot of people have sort of attested to that. That's what I assumed, and a lot of the comments sort of back that up. But Karma, was really interesting and amazing, high energy, sort of fun song as well. This one is kind of like, there's some elements there that sort of broach more into a little bit more progressive, which I really dig, So this is interesting. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed that reaction. I'll definitely put that on my Spotify playlist. In fact, all of these songs so far are on there now. So, so thanks for coming along the journey with me. If you've stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. As always, I'm trying to bring awareness to color blindness. I'll be dropping a link in the description that'll take you to Enchroma, where you can get your eyes tested. 1 in 6 guys, 1 in 200 women. So a lot of the people watching this are going to be guys. 1 in 6 of you is colorblind. You may not even know. I've diagnosed adult men who didn't know that they were colorblind. So jump in the link. It'll take you to Enchroma. You can get your eyes tested. And if you use the coupon code CHAOS, you can get 10% off a pair of glasses. And you should do it because, dude, it certainly changed my life as far as color goes. So, but yeah, thank you for sticking around. You guys are great. I can't thank you enough for the engagement, like the comments I'm getting. People are spending serious amounts of time writing posts to me to sort of point me in the right direction. I knew you guys were all very passionate about this stuff, and you haven't disappointed me so far. So from here, thank you so much, and I'll try and keep pumping these out as quickly as I can. So thanks, guys. Catch you on the next one.